Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the importance of receiving feedback when we learn English. Do you actually need feedback? And why are some people so annoyed when they get corrected? Through my experience as an English learner and now a teacher, I've come to realize that there are two groups of learners. Those who don't want immediate feedback and get upset when the teacher interrupts them, and those who expect the teacher to correct them on the spot because they think that otherwise they will continue to speak with mistakes. So, who's right? In my opinion, both groups have a point. Even the right feedback given at the wrong moment can make a person feel self-conscious and is most probably not going to have a positive effect. For example, if a person mispronounces a word during a conversation when they're sharing something personal or something they were passionate about, they don't need someone pointing out each mistake on the spot. Interruption in that kind of situation can only lead to frustration. But if this student decides to improve their pronunciation of a certain sound, for example, working with a teacher or a coach who can give immediate feedback would be beneficial. The truth, guys, is that feedback is inevitable. Even people who claim they despise unsolicited feedback are going to get it anyway. This is because feedback is not only verbal, but also perceptional. This means that we don't absorb just words, but also tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. For example, if someone doesn't understand what we're saying, we will probably see confusion on this person's face. And this kind of feedback that comes in the form of a facial expression is something that most non-native speakers of English dread. Now, let's look at why feedback is beneficial. According to the noticing hypothesis proposed by Richard Schmidt in 1990, learners are unable to advance their language abilities or understand specific linguistic features if they don't consciously notice and pay attention to the input. In other words, listening to the language without noticing certain nuances and differences won't bring much of a benefit. Although noticing certain linguistic forms comes naturally to people with talent for learning foreign languages, many adult learners find it hard to notice the difference between certain grammar or pronunciation nuances without any feedback. By the way, I talk a little bit more about talent in one of my other videos called Can You Really Sound Like a Native English Speaker? I'll put the link in the description box. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Okay, back to feedback. Even highly talented language learners would need some help in certain areas if they start speaking a foreign language as adults. According to a study that investigated if feedback actually leads to more noticing in the second language learning, learners claimed that they noticed more when they were given feedback. And this in turn helped them develop their language skills even more. But if we know that feedback is beneficial, then why do so many students say they don't like being corrected? I think there are two main reasons we cringe when we hear feedback knocking on our door. First, we don't like to be interrupted when we're trying to share our opinion about something. If someone keeps correcting us in a moment like that, we forget our train of thought and usually end up frustrated. Second, and pay attention here because this is very important, we're unwilling to get our feelings hurt. In other words, we have low frustration tolerance. Wikipedia defines low frustration tolerance as the inability to tolerate unpleasant feelings or stressful situations. It stems from the feeling that reality should be as wished and that any frustration should be resolved quickly and easily. I often see students who quickly get frustrated if they can't express a certain thought with the exact words they want to use. But acquiring a foreign language is not easy and you need to become more resilient. This means that you need to learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and try not to quit or get angry every time a teacher corrects you. I know that this could be easier said than done, but becoming aware of your feelings is an important first step towards taming them. I agree that interrupting a student during a conversation is not conducive for learning, but it's extremely helpful to have sessions that are specifically dedicated to getting feedback on sounds, grammar, or vocabulary. This is because when we learn a foreign language as adults, we often don't notice some of the phonetic or grammatical nuances that don't exist in our native language. So, a teacher pointing out these nuances can be game-changing. But not all feedback is created equal. Let's say a friend or colleague of yours tells you that when we pronounce a certain word, something sounds off, but they don't know how to explain what this something is. This kind of feedback is not only useless, but it can leave you super confused and with more questions than answers. So, if you've made the decision to look for feedback, make sure to ask a qualified teacher or someone who can give you details and tell you exactly what to work on and how to work on it. What is your attitude towards feedback? Do you like being corrected, and in what situations? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your point of view. Alright, my dear English learners and speakers, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like another video where I talk about how to learn English as an adult. Check it out. Also, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell button next to it to get notified when I post a new video. Bye for now.